What's up, Thunder fam? Along with Anthony Morrow, I am Colby Daniels. We've got a lot to talk about as we head into the holidays. Next week, obviously, no show as we're going to celebrate the holidays with our families and, much deserved break after these first 8 or 9 weeks of the NBA season. But, Ant, my man, what is happening today?
Man, I can't call it, brother. Still just vibing, man. Kids doing great. A lot of stuff going on in the NBA. A lot of podcasts, people talking and stuff like that. But we can get into everything, man. I'm just glad to be here, bro. This is
That's
my
right. That's
therapy.
right. We're blessed, right? We're blessed to be here, and that's what really counts.
Absolutely.
All right, so Thunder NBA Cup semifinals against San Antonio. Didn't play a great game. I thought Wimby's length affected them a little bit. I felt like they had a little bit of a hard time maybe adjusting to that. Or everybody has a bad game, right? And they just didn't seem very sharp. Really, from the beginning of that game to the end, it was not their best game by any means. That said, the aftermath of the Spurs beating the Thunder, two matchups with San Antonio and OKC next week, including the Christmas Day game. You gotta love the Chet and Wimby individual rivalry, but I think it kind of set the stage with OKC being called unbeatable and San Antonio getting that NBA Cup win for these next two matchups next week to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long season, man. So at the end of the day, like I said, I want this in with Denver for Oklahoma City to it's creating a new rivalry. Yeah, and with one of those teams with Oklahoma City, because Oklahoma City is not going anywhere anytime soon. But I like the Chet and the Wemby thing. I like that. It's like the old school battles of the big men. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. And they're so skilled and talented and competitive. And I think that that's going to bode well for the future for both of those organizations. We just don't know. Same with Chet. I'm not comparing them to, but I think that is going to be something that's going to be special to watch. I can't wait to watch on Christmas for real. Anytime they match up. So glad Wimby's back and healthy. Chet's healthy. So it's gonna be. I think that's more rivalry now to me than the Denver and Oklahoma City. But watching the guys, Jokic over there, and just watching those guys compete against each other in the West is great. It's like old school basketball, but they like skill like guards, and that's what we are now
Right.
in our game.
I don't know that. I mean, even with the Spurs win, I don't know that anybody thinks the Spurs are going to beat the Thunder in a postseason series or anything like that. But I think when you pair Wimby's comments and the individual rivalry between Wimby and Chet, it does add something a little extra. Like I know since they've come in the league, there's been this comparison, and I remember a couple years ago in Chet's rookie year, like people comparing, like, well, Wimby has much greater stats. Well, he's the number one guy on a bad team, right? Of course, he's going to accumulate a ton of stats. Chet's being asked to do different things than Wimby's being asked to do on a really good team, right? So he's playing in games that have a lot more pressure on them in terms of like your team winning than Wimby is. So like being asked to do different things, it's a little bit apples to oranges, but because the comparisons are there, I've always felt like when those two guys have played each other, there has been a little bit extra from Chet. There's been a little bit extra from Wimby. You can tell that those guys want it a little bit more individually when they play each other. And then, San Antonio getting that win, it probably adds the team element next week. I think the 23rd and 25th at San Antonio on the 23rd, in OKC on the 25th. It's going to be a ton of fun. So rivalries just make the sport better, right? Whether or not we believe San Antonio's on the same level as OKC, when you feel like there might be a little bad blood between the two, or there's anything that the two might be, hanging on with bulletin board material, it just makes it, I think, more fun for us as the viewers. Similar to like OKC and Golden State back in your time, man. I mean, I think we all loved watching those matchups, and Draymond obviously stirring the pot, and he had the kick on Steven Adams. Stuff like that just seems to, I think, elevate the fans' perspective on matchups like this.
Absolutely. And I feel like right now. San Antonio is like the little brother of Oklahoma City. Like they're right in the same path. Like you see how Sam has developed this team to be what they are now. It's the same as what, San Antonio was with developing who they were. And they've been sustainable. Shout out to Coach Pop, RC Buford, doing that work over there, and just the development, and I know Sam kind of took that blueprint and went there with it. But yeah, I would love to see this. I would love to see them in the Western Conference Finals every year for the next 5 years or something like that. Because they still young, both teams still young. They structured the right way. They're not what Oklahoma City is, but they're on a path to be it. But for now, I got Oklahoma City still
Yeah.
going to the finals, winning the finals, because nobody's coming out of the East, in my opinion, just due to injuries. You got Jason Tatum healthy. That makes the Celtics different. Him and Jalen Brown, and then Milwaukee. You got all this talk and chatter about Giannis leaving. Maybe we don't know. Um, and then Tyrese Halliburton being hurt. It's just different right now in terms of the injuries. But yeah, I love this rivalry that I'm calling the rivalry right now because
Yeah.
you got so many people that match with each other in the right way. Um, and you got MVPs on both sides, a future MVP in Wemby, and you got an MVP right now with Shea, and you got Chet. It's perennial all stars on both sides, I believe. Hassel, Dylan Harper is going to be really good over there with the Spurs. So I think that the way they develop their teams, it is going to continue to move like it's moving, and I think that it's going to be something to watch for sure.
No doubt. Count me in on any OKC San Antonio matchup as it stands. There might be a Tuesday, like 9 o'clock tip off against Sacramento that if I'm going to take a day off, maybe that's the one I take off. I'm not taking a day off when OKC is matching up with San Antonio, if we're going to like put it in those terms. So
Absolutely.
let's jump into something that came across my Twitter timeline. I was sent a tweet earlier today. Former OKC Thunder forward and your former teammate Kevin Durant was on the Fred Van Vliet Unguarded podcast that I guess dropped today, as best I can tell. And I did not listen to the whole podcast. So if there is more context to this, I will just go ahead and say I did not listen to the whole podcast. But it had a couple of quotes from Kevin Durant. I listened to at least that portion of the podcast. And he basically says, in terms of why did he leave OKC to join Golden State, he says, in OKC, we had a lot of specialists, dudes that played defense but couldn't score on their own, couldn't shoot the ball, somebody who could shoot the ball but couldn't defend. Basically kind of saying that there weren't a lot of, I guess, two-way players. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to take that. And if anybody wants to, again, I would urge you to listen to the whole thing if you want the context of the entire conversation. But that was sent to me probably 30 minutes before we started this thing. So I briefly had enough time to listen to that portion of the podcast as I was getting things ready to do this. But you were a teammate of Kevin Durant's on the Oklahoma City Thunder. It just so happens when he decided to move to Golden State. So I feel like you are probably in the best shoes to speak on this.
Yeah, and that's my brother. I understand. We are specialists. Everybody's a specialist in the NBA. you know, you just the most special one. You see what I'm saying? So if he's talking about Andre Roberts, great defender in his own right. He wasn't a great shooter, of course. That's my little brother. And he specialized and made a lot of money playing in the league by what he was great at. I made a lot of money. I thank God that I was the shooter I was. Yeah, we specialists. Everybody is specialist that plays in the NBA. I don't care who you are. There's only 425, 450 guys that get to, be blessed to play in our league, but you the special one. So when we started talking about being double teamed, game 6 against Golden State, Clay hit 11 threes, I understand. But if you roll the basketball right now and said me and said you against Clay one-on-one, who you think I'm taking? I'm taking Trey 5 every time. I'm
every time.
taking Slim. You know what I'm saying? What happened game 6? I love it so much. But we all saw that when I had to grab him by his shoulders and say, hey, man, it's your Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant finals, like legacy moment right now. We got to deliver in them moments. It ain't about nobody else. You know what I'm saying? You got another Hall of Famer right beside you in Russ. You got guys over here. You got Serge. You got guys around. Deion Waiters. He's a specialist, one-on-one scorer, unguardable at that time. So it's not about that. He told me to himself. LeBron James said, and we wanted Golden State. They won 73 games that year. We wanted them. We didn't want y'all. I'm not putting myself on no pedestal or nothing like that, but at the same time, you had some guys with you. You ain't just leave and go to like the golden land and just had everything else. You had Steph. They already won. They've already won. You know, and like I said, I love everybody. I love all of them. I love Kel. Kel's my brother. At the same time, game 6 was real. When I had to grab him, look him in his eyes. Hey, bro, this is your moment right now. Show everybody who you are. I don't care about no double teams or none of that. Ain't nobody 6'11" out here with every tool in his bag to score and defend. We was right there. You think that ain't hurt when he left and went to them? It did. And I had to have a real conversation with him. I didn't see that coming, but I still love you. Real talk. And he know that. He know that. That's still my homie to this day. Still my brother to this day. But yeah, uh, we got to get into some of those conversations before it's like, yo, we just had specialists. Specialists? You got specialists around you and you the special one? Jeez, so what we talking about?
Well, I
But
mean
it
that's
is
the
what it
part of this
is.
that I think is puzzling because this isn't
But
the
he
first
won.
time that he's mentioned this, but like I look at that Thunder team and if you only had 5 guys that were able to play in that series, right? And you had no bench at all, and you had like a guy that couldn't defend and a guy that couldn't shoot, like, and you had no other options, then yeah, maybe that makes sense. But I thought the way that Sam Presti built that team, you had so many different tools at your disposal to mix and match depending on the situation and who you're playing and the matchup. That I mean, it's kind of why I think they've done such a good job with this current team, right? He's acquired so many different tools that depending on what the matchup is on any given day, they can play different guys depending on that guy's skill set and how he potentially fits into, what they need on that specific night. I thought that Thunder team was very similar with him clearly being the spearhead of it all. But I thought there were a lot of different types of guys that had different skill sets that could all kind of mesh into what they exactly needed on different nights.
Yeah, and that's how you develop a team and a culture, honestly. And Sam is great, I feel like, at trial and error, kind of, without it looking like trial and error, if that makes sense. So he understood how to have a superstar, but also not having superstars button heads. Like it's never going to be a time like when we talked about if they wanted Giannis to go to somewhere like Oklahoma City. We don't know what that looks like with him and Shea. And he been through that with 2 Hall of Famers. But you can build a team around not having 2 superstars and having 2 all-star caliber guys that can turn into that. But he knows how to turn that around 18 picks or something like that. Like, it could be anything, but it's in the moment because it's all about the shield. You gonna see
Yeah.
it. What's the shield? The shield right here. And that's what he's great at. And that's what they are great at as an organization. Um, but I really like how they moved this whole season. I know they took the L to San Antonio. And I really like that could be potentially a rival. And hopefully it is, because that's great. That's must-see TV right there. But yeah, you know, I just feel like in terms of the Thunder itself, it's going to be, its teams are scared to play them, and teams are just bowing down. So we'll see what's going on moving forward. Can't wait to Christmas.
No doubt. I want to go back to Game 6 real quick because you said this is your legacy moment, right? I mean, I think everybody in the building thought that Thunder headed to the NBA Finals, especially at halftime. I remember being in the media room at halftime of that game, and there were people like starting to book hotels for the NBA Finals, like this is over. And then Clay happens in the third quarter and it gets away, and I don't think a lot of people had a lot of confidence about what was going to happen in Game 7. But following Game 6, did you feel like there was a shift from that specific night, or was there ever a shift in terms of your, I guess, perception on KD and the way he viewed Oklahoma City versus, these comments saying that he was ready to go somewhere else with a different type of roster?
No, I didn't feel like it was a shift. I didn't feel like it was ever a shift with him. I felt like it was some frustration that he probably wasn't talking about. But we were so locked in as a team, it didn't even really matter, you know. Um, what I do remember is, and I want to, for lack of a better, it was I'm like, for me, I'm like, I don't want to hear no excuses, bro. There's no excuses to be had. Like right now, you're the best player on the planet to me. And you know that. Like people don't understand, like being on the team and watching on TV is two different things. You see dudes do him and Russ was like that. LeBron, like a lot of guys. But it's just like, well, a few guys, not like them. But I don't think it changed how he felt about Oklahoma City. I think that in his mind, from a business standpoint, he was ready to move on. And just say that. They just say that. Like that makes more sense to me. Just say that. You my brother, bro. We talk, we go to restaurants and hang out, go to his spot, chill. And I mean, he's human, so he'll talk about what he has concerns about, what he feels, good or bad, which is cool. That's what homeboys do, and talk about things, those kind of things, basketball or life. And I just, seeing that, I'm like, you didn't just leave like you left like a 24 win team, bro.
Right, right.
We had them. So like you went to the direct opposition. So that's what made it feel that way. And I mean, it was cool because I mean, we still had, I mean, Russ was on a tent, like literally on something else after that, competitive wise. Not like he didn't like Kev. It's not like Kev didn't like him, but I mean, it's in real life, but basketball wise, from a competitive standpoint, I could understand why they were like that. And we all was like that when they came into Oklahoma City. And you know what it is. Like our fans are the greatest fans on earth, any sport to me. And it is what it is, but not a hot take, but I'm gonna just say this. Honestly, I think he's gonna end his career in Oklahoma City. Like when he's done,
Really? You
or
think
because right
so?
now he's still yeah. I think Kev gonna come back to Oklahoma City. For real.
I remember
For real.
being on the
I
court
mean,
the
not
first time that he came back with the Warriors. I was standing on the court taking pictures, and at that point in time, I'm going to take away the championship run last year. At that point in time, though, the boos that rained down when they announced Kevin Durant for the Golden State Warriors, I thought that was the loudest I'd ever heard that
that
building.
was
And I'd been to hundreds of games inside that building.
bro.
It was the loudest I'd ever heard it. And then that was broken a few minutes later when they announced Russell Westbrook for the Thunder. The cheers for Russ that night, I thought, reached a level that I was like, okay, that's the new record. That's the loudest that this building has ever been. And to your point about Russ reaching a new level, I mean, look, I think Michael Jordan is the greatest, and we don't have to have that debate. But for me, Jordan is always going to be the GOAT. Jordan found anything, right, to add extra fire. And I know everybody says, like, you should be motivated every day. And the Thunder are the kings of, like, treating every day the same. And I get that, but you are human, and on some level, there are going to be days that you find extra motivation. Jordan was the king at always finding extra motivation, right? No matter what it was, if somebody looked at him the wrong way, it might be the extra motivation to get them the win that night or for him to go off for 50. That clearly was something for Russ that lit a fire and projected him to another stratosphere.
Absolute, bro. Russ, I'll tell you like something about Russ. He made, I don't know if he, I don't care if he like it or not, but it's not bad. Great. It's his competitive nature. Him and Damian Lillard had this thing, about, and Russ was only up. He just didn't like that he wore number 0. Like that's the kind of competitive nature he is as a person. That's what makes him who he is. You know what I'm saying? So I the whole day before we played Golden State when Kev came back to Oklahoma City, Russ was on some other stuff, like mentally, some other stuff. He always like that when it's time to play against a rival or another guard. But this day, I woke up, I said, Zero gonna be on something else today. I already know. And I need him to be on that. So when they got in each other's face that game, it was cool. I mean, I love seeing it because I know they really brothers. Like they really, they really do love each other. But from a competitive standpoint and all of this around it and what it is, but yeah, when they booed Kev, I never heard them like that. In the 3 years I was there, I never heard it. And then when they cheered for Russ, it was like, yeah, the whole city on your back now. And
Yeah.
Russ embraced that. And that's what makes him a Hall of Famer. And Kev's a Hall of Famer in his own right. And it's crazy because I was going into the game and Kev was coming back into the game. And we was at the scores table. He was like, I was like, bro, you all right? He was like, at this time he had like 26. He ended up with like 40. I'm like, I already knew who he was gonna be on. He was like, yeah, man. You gonna go to the restaurant tonight, man, after the game? I'm like, hell yeah, we going to the restaurant after the game. He was like, all right, cool. So it was never like hate or nothing. It was just we lost a brother,
Yeah.
you know, that left us. Because we had such a strong camaraderie in that locker room and within that organization. And it was everybody from shout out to my man Wilson, to my man Saint, and all the vets and Sam and all the organization. We were all locked in that year and afterwards. Even after I got traded to Chicago, but um, it's always gonna be that kind of brotherhood, and that's what they still have now. So that's what it was. But yeah, game 6, bro. I love you, but game 6, I had to grab you by your shoulders. I did. This is the moment, bro. Let's go to the finals. We're going to Cleveland. They had number 1 seed or something
I
like
know.
that. We're
I'm
going to
telling you,
Cleveland.
halftime, we were booking our tickets. We thought we were going to cover the NBA Finals.
I couldn't wait, man.
And then all those Clay 3-pointers.
It is
Everybody's
what
just
it
like,
is.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. All right, let's end
I
here.
told them before the game.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I told him for the game, I said, I love Steph. Steph is Steph. But I said, when Clay gets hot, it's the most dangerous shit on earth. Like, for real. Like, he's not going to miss. And he ended up hitting. I remember looking him in his eyes, contesting the shot face to face. And I looked back, and it was straight in. And I looked at him, and I was like, nah, he on something else. I know what that feel like. So I'm like, but he get to shoot any shot he want to shoot. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's gonna get day 6-7, and he shoot above his head. Like I'm like, bro, don't let him get the ball. He don't care what kind of shot he take. That's why I respect
Yeah.
him. I told him that.
Yeah.
That's why I respect him, though, as a shooter.
I mean,
Yeah.
some people's like GOAT list is like MJ, LeBron, and Clay game 6. So, I mean, that's the kind of level he was on that night.
He's game 6 Clay.
Yeah.
Because of us.
Yeah.
It wasn't our fault. He just got hot.
Yeah.
But
No doubt.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest shooters ever.
All right, let's end on this. You said your prediction is Kevin Durant's going to finish as a member of the Thunder. So you think that means like he signs the like 1-day contract to like finish like his career with the Thunder, or you think he actually plays games for the Oklahoma City Thunder again before he's done?
I think he'll be able to do that. Like he could be able to do. I don't know how it would work, but if he said if his team puts out want to go back to Oklahoma City while they're still in their prime and have to give up anything crazy for him to come back, yeah, I think he'll do that. Because I think he wants his jersey. His jersey should be up. Like Russ jersey gonna be up in there, and I think Kev jersey should be up in there. Like for real, I think he would do that. It like meaningful games, not like you're the number one guy, of course, at this point. But I could see that. I don't know if it'll happen, but I could see him wanting to finish his career in Oklahoma City. That's where he made all his bones. That's what he did. His legacy was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Golden State championships, but his legacy was in Golden State. If he could be, his legacy was in Oklahoma City. If he can go back and they win a chip with him there, that'd be kind of really dope for sports in general.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it'll happen, but it would be nice to see that, in my opinion. Just me being
Yeah.
the media guy now.
I was really curious to see what the fan reaction was going to be to Kevin Durant in the season opener this year, right? Because OKC opened with Houston. He's now with the Rockets. Every time he's ever been back, it's been a ton of boos, right? You get the like people yelling cupcake and all that stuff. And it's I mean, maybe it's slowly gone down a little bit, but it's still like, I mean, you can still tell that there's some hostility there. I was curious with the Thunder winning a championship if that like potentially eased some of the heartbreak of him leaving. And I don't know that it did a whole bunch. Now, there's also a difference, I think, in like really hating somebody and competitively hating somebody. Like, there are a lot of players that I quote unquote hate as like, you know, competing against the team that I like. Doesn't mean I don't like them as a person. That could be what it is, right? No matter who he plays for, he's always going to be disliked from a competitive standpoint. I do think there are a lot of people that have probably eased up a little bit on the like personal level of hatred for the, you know, some people feel like he betrayed Oklahoma City or things like that. I mean, that's a personal decision, but I'm just every time he comes back, I'm always interested to see like what is the fan reaction? Where is it now? Does it ever reach a point where like there's even some sort of like appreciation for Kevin Durant, or is it always going to be like, boo, you play for another team that's not named the Thunder and we're never going to, you know, go the other way? Or I don't know. It'll be interesting to see though.
Nah, from a fan standpoint, I understand that because
For
that's
sure.
where we are. It is what it is, and it's been like that forever. It don't matter what sport it is. But in terms of his legacy, I feel like um, if he did come back and play for a season or 2 seasons or 3 or 4, he could still play. Like he's still in shape. Like he's still 26 a night. I don't think it's gonna happen now. But if he did finish his career, it'd be kind of like that LeBron feel when LeBron went back to Cleveland. Not like Kev coming back in his prime. Like Brown was still kind of in his prime when he went back,
Yeah.
and he won a chip. But if he come back like that, Oklahoma City fans very, very loyal. They'll understand that.
Yeah.
Um, I think that if Russ went back to Oklahoma City, it'd be even more of, of camaraderie around that.
Oh, 100%.
More of a fan base. Yeah. But just to finish his career.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see both of them do that, that would be crazy. I don't know if both of them would do that, but yeah.
Well, that would be, I
I
mean, that
don't
would
think
be
both.
worth, that'd be worth everybody's time just to, you know, watch it play out. And just the interactions, I think
We
in
just go to
general would
every
be,
game to see them.
that's
Just to
right.
see them on the court. Like just see them there in the building.
That's right.
Because they built that. Brick by brick built that. And um, I shout out to both of them, man. You know, yeah, man. But I love Kev, man. I was like, hey man, you gotta put some stuff in some context though. You ain't just leave no bad team, bro. You left a championship caliber team. And it is what it is. It made for great TV. Hopefully it's a 30 for 30. I talked to my my great buddy, one of my best friends, Nick Collison, man. And at the time we were in Oklahoma City, we watched the Penny and Shaq documentary
Yeah, yeah.
and their interview. Well, the documentary, and he was like, "This is looking like it's finna be this. It's about to be this." This is when we was all on the same team. It's like 2016 or something. He was like, "I could see that. I wouldn't say it to nobody, but I could see it." I was like, "I see it too, bro." You know, and it ended up being that when Shaq left Penny,
Yeah.
like Kev left Russ, and then it was this kind of rivalry. This wasn't social media, but um, back then. But nah, man, them guys been so successful. They're two of my best friends in the world. To this day, our families love each other, all of us. And it is what it is, man.
All right, my
I love the
dude.
background too, man. I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beyond the arc, baby.
Yes, sir. Behind the arc. Finna get some shirts made, bro.
That's right. That's right. All right. No show next week.
Merch.
We'll obviously be in touch. We'll catch up over everything that's happening. No show next week, but we'll be back for the new year, and we'll have at least a couple of Thunder Spurs games to talk about, if nothing else, and maybe somebody else will go on a podcast and give us something else to chat about next time. But happy holidays to you and your family, and we'll talk for sure. But everybody have a great holiday season.
Happy holidays, Cole, to you and the fam and everybody else out there. You know it. Beyond the arc. All love.